Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of East Meets West. Of course, it's the Pistons edition, and we just gonna jump right in. You know what I mean? Like we already know we've been winning. We ain't got to jump into the whole breakdowns and all that. We can't. We
No,
will.
yeah.
We might, but it's some other things that need to be spoken about because it's January. January what to be exact, 14th.
14?
And here we are. You know what I mean? Pistons are 21-19. Cade Cunningham's
Incredible.
going crazy. He's arguably. Let's talk about that.
Go, yeah.
People, you did the top. What is Cade? And I say top 10. I say
Did you vote
arguably.
top 10? Did you vote
Yeah,
top 10?
yeah, twice.
Okay.
and,
Yeah,
and
for our listeners, we put out a poll on our East Meets West Twitter account. And I just kind of want to get an idea, or we want to get an idea of how the fans, not just Pistons fans or any fans, view Cade Cunningham. Like, do you think of him as a top 10 player, top 15, top 20,
right.
outside of the top 20? And so far, the results have been overwhelming that he's no worse than top 25. I'd say, like last time I looked at that poll, I think at least a little under 70% basically say that he's within the top 15, and
Yeah, yeah.
right. And I guess all that's to say is, in our previous episode, well, two things. One, if he's a top 15 player and there are 15 all NBA spots, doesn't that mean he's an all NBA player? Right. I mean, because
yeah.
right. That's what
He's
I
playing
think you and I
defense
have been
too.
saying. That's the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think across the charts, right, he's checking off all the boxes in every kind of like statistical a metric, right? Both on offense and defense. Like, I don't really care what you rank him as, but to me, like I said, I don't. To me, it should be a no-brainer that he's an all-star. The question now is, isn't he an all-NBA player? And that's kind of why I put that out there. And then going back to our last episode, what did I say? If you truly believe, if he's not already in the top 10, like he's entering the top 10 conversation,
Yeah.
then that means you have then that means at the minimum, you have the framework of a championship caliber team. Because I think most fans would agree, right? You just look historically, right? At all the championship teams, they've at least had more often than not, they've had at least one top 10 player in the league in that given year, right? If not more, there are a few anomalies, but those are the exceptions, not the norm, not the rule.
The sidebar.
Yeah.
I don't know if the 04 championship team had an all NBA player. You know what I mean? Like I love saying by committee. I say it a lot on like the W pod that I do, but it's when and that's why I believe in this team, because we have the depth, and I think we can improve the depth without taking a hit to the depth that matters. You know what I mean? Which is probably a good segue into where we're about to go. It's like, don't hurt the parts of us that actually add something to us. Like, I'm not willing to trade Malik Beasley. I will never trade Isaiah Stewart. Never. Ever in my life. Like, because if somebody punched me, I know he running up to come defend me. You know what I mean? Like, and you need like that type of camaraderie. You need somebody to be able to be like, hey, my teammate is going to okay, all right.
It's kind of funny. Like, I'm actually glad that you did bring up 04. First of all, just real quick, and I'll get into it in like a couple seconds, but that is the 04 team, in my opinion, they are the exception, not the rule, right? They're one of the few exceptions in NBA history where, you could make that argument. However, I will counter, because even at the time, right, in the moment in 04, before social media, I just remember saying, like, I get it. They don't have like a Kobe or a Shaq, but like I feel like in saying that, to make him an underdog, that team, like the media and fans almost made them underrated to prove that they could do it without those top 10 stars. But if you look at it, history tells us what? You have multiple all-star or multiple Hall of Famers on that team. You had a multi-time defensive player of the year. So it wasn't like they're like, some ragtag team of misfits, right? They're not the bad news Bears. They just didn't have like the cachet of Kobe Bryant or Shaquille O'Neal. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and on top of that, going back to it, your beef stew. Like I remember in 2004, I just had like these, basketball talks with friends. Like if you had to pick one NBA player to go into like the most dangerous dark alley, right? Who would you go with? It was always we'd always pick Ben Wallace.
Yeah, of course.
So I'd pick. Yeah, I could see if you pick beef stew.
I'm picking beef stew right now. Like I'm picking beef stew.
There you go.
And then probably Ron Holland, and then probably Malik Beasley. And even though Malik might just taunt, he might just get a hit off or something, and then like taunt, and then get on somewhere. But like, yeah, I love this team, man. Like, especially seeing them in New York, and like how seriously engaged they were in that game. You know what I mean? Like, it's night and day what this Pistons team was last year. Like, I didn't see this type of energy, like we are here energy. You know what I mean? Like, respect us. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see that last year, and I seen it in the years prior. I seen it with Dwayne Casey and whatnot, but last year I didn't see it. I guess we were in disarray. Maybe it was just too much of the shuffling going on. It wasn't I'm not gonna go in because that's just basically trying to drag somebody, and I don't want to drag him because I appreciate what he did, but like we're all the way back. Like, I posted the graphic on the Pistons League account. We were 3 and what?
3 and 36.
3 and 36, right? Like, come on, bro. And now we're 21 and 19. Like, come on, man. Like, but let's go ahead and just segue straight into it. Like, if we're not hurting this core, or just whatever you want to present trading wise, like, because we know what the Pistons have been doing. You know, everybody has been seeing it. We've been doing Pistons update episodes. Y'all could go catch them on the page. But now I guess it's just time to like talk about what could we do to propel us from 8 or 6 to 4 to 3. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so Con, it's time.
Yeah, I mean, before we go into specific names, just real quickly, let's put it out there that at times it might seem like I don't value chemistry, togetherness, because I do look at all 30 teams from like a cap perspective. Good luck this weekend, man. Okay.
Man, come on, y'all. Please. It's been a long time.
What I'm saying is, I've made it clear on social media, like, I wouldn't want them to make any trade that damages that team chemistry, that camaraderie. Having said that, a trade, you got to give up something to get something. And I do believe that this chemistry is more than just one person. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think if the price is right, I know we're beginning to have emotional attachments to certain guys, some guys that maybe we didn't think had a long-term future with this team. Right. But I think, some of them can be moved in order to, who knows, like, right, again, on court, in terms of increasing efficiency, like offensive and defensive efficiency, right? Yeah. And who knows, could even increase, the chemistry, the brotherhood of this team. So we'll see. But I guess first off, we're going to operate under the assumption that these following players are not going to be traded, right? And if you want to add some, but these are the ones, in my opinion, just right now, just no, we're not entertaining any offers. Cade, right? Ron Holland II, Asar Thompson, Malik Beasley, Isaiah Stewart.
Yes.
Right now, I'm not saying the others are just on the trade block, but I would say, because relative to their value, both on the court and the nature of their contracts are so good. No. Right. We're not out. So we want to add to that. Now, again, the ones that weren't listed, that doesn't mean we're trying to ship them out. It's just maybe you could upgrade over them. Right.
Right.
So, do you want to start with the smaller names or the bigger names?
Let's start smaller and let's build up, or
Okay.
throw one bigger name out there and then let's jump down.
Okay, well then let's get out of the way. The one that keeps showing up. It took 10 minutes to get to the first name. Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
Brandon Ingram. Now, I mean, I don't know what. First of all, what are your thoughts on a Brandon Ingram? Just your thoughts.
I got immediate thoughts too. Like, does he have the dog in him? Is there something going on with our team that will awaken a dog in him? Because if not, then I don't want him.
Okay.
I don't want Brandon Ingram. If he's not out here starting to like look at people, stare them down, push them off like Ron Holland, because Ron Holland's already doing that. He's a rookie. You know what I mean? He's stepping to Draymond. And if you don't have it within you to say, we here, then I don't want anything to do with you. Like, for real. I really don't. Because in order for us to succeed, we need to let people know we're here. You know what I mean? Like, because we've been what we've been for how long? You know what I mean? And the people you get online, especially, and you're scrolling, and I'm sure they do the same thing. It's like, oh, Pistons poverty, Pistons this and that, Pistons this and that for over the last few years, hell, since Blake left. And it's just like, I need you to be willing to step up and say, no, that ain't. Like, I'm not anticipating, if we had Brandon Ingram beforehand, that I'm seeing him like Isaiah Stewart, like, hey, this is what it is on the court, holding it up, holding his
like
jersey
Malik
up.
shimmying in the garden, right? That's a shimmy.
That was
too,
so
man.
funny. He was like,
that's a Shakira shimmy, man. That's not a Steph shimmy, man.
Right. I'm like, are you twerking, bro? But he like, and I was like, let's go. And then he started waving by and kissing him goodbye. I'm like, yes, that's what I want in Detroit.
Beef stew pop his collar right in front of Jalen Brunson's face.
Yeah, he was like, and I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That means that you for one want to be here. Does Brandon Ingram want to even be here? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we got Fred Vincent. Does Brandon Ingram want to be here? Because I had a conversation with some of my friends earlier today, and they were saying we could have acquired Zach LaVine last year, and he didn't want to come here, so he went through the whole injury reserve situation to try to prevent a trade to a team that he didn't want to go to. So it's just like, well, if you don't want to be here, then I don't want you. I don't. Yeah. And we need players that's like, I want to go to Detroit. Just like I'm hearing rumblings. It was like Bleacher Report or something like that. Players they're open to going to Cleveland and all. You're open to going to Cleveland.
You put the air quotes on Cleveland.
Like, because Cleveland is set. Like, you're open to going to Cleveland. You want to go to that. You could come to Detroit and have fun, if you want to have an off the court life, but not saying that you should engage too hard, but like Cleveland compared to Detroit, like I guess because Cleveland is on a faster track that looks like they can go deeper in the playoffs. But what if we beat Cleveland? Then what?
Well, I mean, relatively speaking, your core, right? The Pistons core is, significantly younger than Cleveland's core at this point. Yeah. I mean, I don't think people realize that, like Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen are not old, but older. Like they're firmly in their primes.
28 right? Or something like that, yeah.
They're firmly in their prime. Detroit, all your main guys are all ascending, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the reason why I put out the Brandon Ingram one first is because I understand both the appeal and the concern from Pistons fans, right? In terms of the things that we've talked about going back to the summer, what do the Pistons need? Even when they had Ivy, they need more shot creation, shot making, but also like shot creation for themselves, shot creation for others, right? Brandon Ingram brings that. He definitely brings that. My only concern is as we've said, right? Like ideally, what did I say about any of the players that we bring in to complement Cade? You need to be able, ideally, create your own shot,
right?
But be able to function efficiently off the ball.
Make that tertiary pass.
Yeah. And
Tim
Brandon
Hardaway
Ingram has never really shown the ability to be particularly productive when he's off the ball. He just kind of floats into the netherworld, right? Into space. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that makes him like lazy or selfish, but I mean, you already saw it, right? Like playing with Zion. He's not given the opportunity for an on-ball dominant role with the Pelicans. It's definitely not going to get any better, right? With the Pistons. That's not to say Cade is going to be pounding the rock like all 48 minutes, but still.
No. The ball is getting around.
Yeah, but Cade will be the primary ball handler, you know, right? Yeah. Like if he's not good enough, like if he's not proficient enough, right? Whether that's catch and shoot, cutting, screening. Again, see this thing, like he's an expiring contract, but you're trading for him with the assumption that you would be extending him.
Right.
And he's probably going to make somewhere, around 45 million, I'm assuming, 45 million per year. Like you're not just giving up assets now. You're also having to make a future, like a long-term investment, commitment to him for a guy who you don't know does the things that you would like him to do.
Right.
So for me, no, I am in the camp that I would probably pass on Brandon Ingram. Now, okay, when you're a team on the rise and you finally have the opportunity where players want to play with you, I get it, right? You don't want to just turn your nose at talent.
Right.
Just might not be the best. Not the best fit.
I agree. Like I don't think that he's the best fit because what we're doing now, we're like Cade is controlling so much, but also able to control it off the ball. Like I mentioned, was it the last episode? We have a cadence now. This Pistons team has a cadence. Like we operate like in a Cade manner. You know what I mean? Like he's trickled down through the team, like his style, and it's hard to want to bring somebody in that's going to take away from that, and I'm not willing to do that. Not with him extending the way that he is right now. Like he's becoming one of the top 5 players right now. So why would I stop?
And again, like Brandon Ingram, again, he is very talented, but again, right at this point, given where he is in his career.
Yeah,
you want to be trading. If you're going to be making a trade of that magnitude, you want to be trading for a known commodity.
Exactly.
And I think it's the same thing, right? It's like there are still too many questions where you feel comfortable. Because again, it's not just players to match the salary right now. I mean, the salary matching is probably not bad, but again, New Orleans, I don't think they're just looking to give him away. You know what I'm saying? So you're probably going to have to give something of value, and if not, draft picks, and those draft picks might be better spent not necessarily just drafting more players, but acquiring, using them in other trades. So I'd say Brandon Ingram, there are definitely pros and cons, but I think we're in agreement for this iteration of the Pistons, probably not. I think we're going a different avenue. So moving on.
Uh-oh.
Do we want to go like smaller or bigger?
Smaller.
Okay.
That look was mean.
This is really easy then. Is going to a former New Orleans Pelican. It really depends on
JV.
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm actually going to Chicago. To the older brother of a new $13 million rapper.
Right? Yes.
Lonzo Ball. Now, I got to say, all things considered, given his injury history, his highlight reel looks pretty good this season, right? Like he's actually, like he's got explosion. He's got lift. Now, to be fair, that explosion is all cutting off the ball, which is fine. But again, Lonzo, I've seen his name come up with a lot of like fans. I've seen him thrown up like, on Bleacher Report, Yahoo, and everything like that. It makes sense to me.
Right.
It makes sense. What did we say?
Yeah.
This team definitely needs more ball handling.
Right.
He doesn't look horrible on defense. I know that's not a great selling point, but what I'm saying is, right, they still need ideally some defense along the wing and the guard spots. Ideally, he could contribute to that. Maybe he's not a negative. Let's put it that way.
Right.
He might not be like the plus point of attack defender he was prior to the injuries. I don't know if he can get back to that point. But again, you could look at it both ways. It could be a short-term investment. He's on basically an expiring contract.
Yeah.
1 year, I believe $20 million. You could match that easily.
Yeah.
THJ and whatever, or actually, you don't even need to, right? You have 14 million in cap space. So you actually could just trade out a smaller deal. Like you could trade out, like, I don't know, B-ball Paul.
Second round picks or something. Yeah.
Well, no, I think you need to still send out a salary. But point being is that he can be had. And I think really all it will take is likely 1 second round pick, maybe 2, But the point is, the advantage of getting him is, 1, this year, it does address your need for an actual, like, true ball handler, more so facilitator. I'm not seeing him getting as much, like, dribble penetration, like, off the drop. He's not creating as much off the dribble. Yeah. It's to be expected. But still, in terms of a steadying hand for the offense, overall, the team in the new calendar year has done a good job minimizing turnovers. But, all the more, right? You have that guy that can kind of give you that nice baseline of ball security.
Yeah.
And furthermore, you have a choice, right? If you trade for him, you're also trading for his bird rights. Right. Meaning next season, if it works out well, you could use your cap space first, use all that, then just bring him back on a new deal. Right. So there is an advantage to bringing him in. But the question is 1, do you believe he'll actually be healthy enough to do the things that we just said, even if we lower our expectations? And 2, going back to the whole Brandon Ingram thing, like, could these assets that we're sending out be better used elsewhere? So, floor is yours.
My question would be, would you trust Lonzo Ball more than Marcus Sasser?
So here's the thing. If you asked me this like 2 weeks ago, I probably would have said Lonzo. And right now I'm still leaning towards it. But see, now in Ivy's absence and these last couple games, perhaps it's recency bias, but Sasser is doing what we believed is the only, if not the only, the main thing he's useful at an NBA level, which is getting buckets. And he's doing that.
Lately.
It's low usage, but on low usage, sometimes, like, especially if you're a shooter and you have low usage, right? Like, damn, right? Like, I'm only shooting like at max 2 shots a game. If I go 0 for 2, like, but then I go 1 of 2 the next game, but it still says I'm right. I'm 33% from the floor, right? So having said that, like, he's actually got really nice shooting percentages, despite an inconsistent usage. So that is a nice thing for Sasser. And those highlights last night, what did we say? Right? Speedy pull-ups.
Yep.
You're gonna try to get you in quickness and then pull up, man.
Because that's what he's been doing. He's been a spark plug off the bench for us, and I've liked his minutes over the last few games and his role. But I will say, with Marcus, let me try to ignore the game Cade. The last game, I should say, but he had 4 fouls early, but we have held Cade off the floor a little bit more than to my liking. You know what I mean? And I would feel like we would be able to, like, maintain leads better because we blow leads. We still blow leads, but maybe Lonzo can help that. You know what I mean? Because he has some sort of defensive acumen to him as well. But I just feel like his facilitation will continue to let the ball move the way that it moves with Cade, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like somewhat. Like I don't.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
I don't want to get into a Lonzo versus Cade conversation. Like, well, if
No,
Lonzo
it's
was
not.
fully healthy, and you
Because
know what I
again,
mean, but
all the players that we discuss or that we entertain the idea of the Pistons acquiring them, they have to be able to play with Cade, not in
right,
place of Cade. With
right,
Lonzo, yes, he could spell Cade some minutes, but he could play alongside him.
yeah,
Lonzo's
because
6'6", and he's
catch and
long. He's
shoot
like what,
Cade,
like a 7-foot wingspan, Lonzo, right? Like, or I don't
yeah,
know. I'm spitballing
yeah,
here. But point
yeah,
is, he can play with him. There is a world where he can play alongside Sasser, Lonzo and Sasser, right? Like Lonzo could basically be a point forward, like a small, like
I mean,
your favorite. You move him to the 3, you know. And so, you know, I mean,
okay,
they
yeah,
could play. I guess the point is, like, I feel like that is an option that will be there to the Pistons if they want to make that move, but two, if they strike out on potentially bigger deals. I think it's just there. Like, they could do it. I think technically, because again, if it's anything more than like, frankly, I think you can get him for 1 second-round pick and some kind of expiring
I think
contract.
they said 2 seconds.
Right. And again, if it's anything more than that, then you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple. Like, acquiring Lonzo doesn't make or break this season or the future trajectory of the team. But what I'm saying is, like, there are definitely benefits to it. It's for the Pistons, it's a low risk, potentially high reward thing.
Right.
You know, like other teams in the playoff hunt that are like maybe hard capped at the first or second apron. Like, if they make that move, it has to work. Right. Otherwise, they've just wasted assets. So, the Pistons have that flexibility. So I would say yes to Lonzo if there are no bigger things that like you either hit on or you choose to pass up on.
Right.
So
I'm with that. Like, cause it's more stabilizing for the second unit. It will stabilize the second unit, in my opinion.
I mean, and also, like, I mean, if he wait, who knows, right? Like, maybe like this is his era, like the bad Sean Livingston years for Lonzo, or maybe they're past him. You see what I'm saying? Maybe this is Golden State Lonzo now, right? This is Golden State Lonzo.
Yeah.
That, I mean,
that'll go crazy.
If all he is a cutter, catch and shoot 3-point shooter, ball handler, and he just defends and he plays 20 minutes a game, how is this not a good deal, right?
Yeah,
so, I mean,
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Lonzo
we're not getting that out of Sasser. Not all of that. Like, we're getting scoring. We're getting.
I gotta admit, I'm kind of coming around.
Some facilitation. I am too.
Know.
But when he starts driving and then he kicks perfectly at the right time to like Duran or like, I'm like, okay, are you coming along, sir? You know what I mean? And I don't want to judge him too early because it is only year 2. You know what I mean? And last year doesn't count to me. So it's like,
I mean, he had some good moments last year.
he had some great moments last year.
Yeah.
Like dropping points in the 20s a few times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's just his role now. You know what I mean? And not saying that if we got Lonzo that we should cut Sasser's minutes. Like, no, maybe not. But Lonzo would stabilize a lot of that. Like, he would. Like, Lonzo would be more of a just in case. You know what I mean? And knock on wood. Beat on his wood. Knock on wood. Let's not have any more injuries. But I wouldn't mind it. Especially if it's just for 2 seconds and maybe a throwaway. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of who the throwaway is. I wouldn't want to give away.
I'd say Paul Reed.
He sacrificed so much.
I mean, it's got to be like a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
I would imagine. I don't think the Bulls want to take on any long-term money unless you give them somebody that you actually like. And I don't know if you want to do. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
It can be a guy on a multi-year deal, but do you really want to do that? I mean, I guess the easiest thing is THJ, right?
I don't want to trade him.
No, I know, but you're gonna have to.
I mean, he looking at what he does.
Scenarios, is what I'm saying.
Looking at what he does with Cade, what he does with Malik, like you were big on tertiary passes. He is that. He is that.
I don't know about that, man.
Maybe I'm recency bias. Maybe I'm recency bias on and him talking about make the extra pass to the hot man. Like maybe I'm a little still high right now, but it's just knowing that he has the ability to shoot, to draw a defender because they came to him. You know what I mean? They like that's THJ here. You know what I mean? And he made the correct pass twice. You know what I mean? It's like. He is capable. It might not be the most capable. It's not Tobias level, but it's still he knows. You know what I mean? Like he's in the understanding in his head. Like, okay, then we not look for my game. Now we not look for I'm trying to get a contract next year because has he been playing like it's a contract year? He hasn't been playing that way. Maybe early before the injury, but now he's kind of settled in, and that's not a bad thing. The settled word is not bad for him, and in this situation, it's more like he's feeling home. I can look at him and tell, you know what I mean. And he kind of felt that way before he got hurt. Like people were saying, THJ, he came back. I said, just give him a few games, let him get his rhythm back, and you'll see. And we can get 8-11 points out of him and be happy. You know what I mean? Because he's stretching the floor, he's helping spacing. He's making an extra pass a lot, and hell, he's even playing more aggressive than I thought he would play. You know what I mean? Like going to the cup and like trying to do things, trying to create. So because if we get rid of him, who's doing that? Malik is doing that now. You know what I mean?
Well, see, we'll get to that. I have not actually thrown him in. You're just asking what contracts would have to be sent out. All I'm saying is, if I do send out THJ, or if the Pistons send him out, right? Ideally, we're bringing in someone who can do those things that you're mentioning right now, but potentially do more, or maybe contributes massively in another aspect.
Right. You know, I mean, when you put it that way, and we got Fred Vinson,
so the Lonzo segment was a little not long, right? But there is merit to it. Yeah. Real quick, since we're on the Bulls. Lonzo's teammate, Zach LaVine, come up in a lot of discussions, right? A lot of articles, fan discussions. Yeah, you're giggling already right there. What are your initial thoughts?
If he don't want to be here, I don't want him. But if he wants to be here, because that means he will have already kind of in his head been like, okay, so if I go to Detroit, this is what they own, this is what they doing, this is what I can contribute, and this is where we can go. And with Zach LaVine, with Cade, that's like having Ivy almost. See, I think a more established Ivy. You know what I mean?
I think the whole LaVine not wanting to come last year was a little bit blown out of proportion, right? Yeah. Like, what player, realistically, if you have choices, which technically he really doesn't, it's not like he has a no trade clause or anything, but I mean, like, if you're asking him, like, hey, do you want to go to Detroit? And they're on a 27 game losing streak or whatever it was, right? And there seems like there's just no direction. Of course, right. I'm just saying, I understand that, and frankly, for me personally, the Zach LaVine narrative is one of the most bizarre things to me, that maybe because of a combination of injuries and the perception of what he doesn't do particularly well, somehow he became like the NBA's whipping boy. Like he is a pariah. He's like the village idiot, you know?
Yeah.
And that never made sense to me. Right. And now
it was the injuries. It was the injuries.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, does he have a reputation for being a plus defender? No. Have we seen him be a plus defender? Yes. Yes, we have. for an entire season with the Bulls and with Team USA. For the same reason you now give Booker the benefit of the doubt that he can be a plus defender. Like, you've shown it to us, right? And it's up to you. I don't know. Like, I disagree with a lot of other Pistons voices, right? I think LaVine actually would be an amazing. Do you know right here, since I have it right in front of me? Right?
Let me get some water.
Right. I saw maybe you came across this graphic, right? I think where is it like credited from? I can't remember. I want to say it was from, I think, Cleaning the Glass or something like that. But basically, they have ranked like the top 30 shooters in the NBA, right? Yeah. It's like an aggregate based on like, your pull-up threes, your catch-and-shoot threes, your free throws, your long twos. So it's basically like a metric combining both true shooting percentage and true shooting percentage and effective field goal percentage. So it's kind of weighing it out and everything like that. Right now, the number one ranked shooter, right? Because based on both efficiency and volume in all those areas is Anthony Edwards, right? Okay, because like he's putting up an insane amount of threes per game, and he's shooting a great percentage.
A lot,
right?
Yeah.
Then second is surprise, Stephen Curry.
Right. Of course.
Malik Beasley's on this list. He's 29. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Knows number 3? Zachary LaVine. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, he is. He is. And by the way, his pull-up percentage, both on volume and efficiency, right? This is like an insane amount of attempts in pull-up, in transition or pull-up, right? 48.8%. So this is not like, he needs to spot up or come off a screen, man. This dude's coming down like 1,000,000 miles per hour, right? And jagging up and draining these things. I'm just saying, man, like, I don't believe this. Okay, when you have two guards, Cade's like, what, 6'8"? I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating. He looks
6'7".
taller.
Yeah.
He does not look 6'7", man.
Especially some of the blocks he gets.
I don't know. but he does not look 6'7", man. He looks taller. Yeah. Right? And then you got LaVine, who's like a legitimate 6'6". I think he's like listed as 6'6". He is, right? I mean, I saw him in person when he was in UCLA. I don't think he's grown that much taller, but I mean, all I'm saying is like, even if you believe he could potentially be a defensive liability, is he a team defensive liability?
No.
Right? When you have that much length, you don't have to be right at the point of attack game, like night in, night out. I think there is a lot of merit to it. I think it's kind of crazy that fans are so dismissive of it.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the contract. Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit tough.
Yeah.
Me personally, and we're going to get to this for a number of reasons. Well, there's 2 reasons really.
Okay.
If you're making a trade for Zach LaVine, that means you're not. Well, yes, he's already under contract, which I believe he's making about $45 million per year for like the next. He's under 45. Like it's $45 million AAV, roughly, right? And I think he's under contract for 2 years after this year, right? Which could be a good thing. At least, like your books are set. Like what I'm saying, like it's not going up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the point is, if you trade for LaVine, then that means you're moving off of Ivy. I don't see a world where they're playing all of them together. Like I just personally don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense because all the more reason, right? Even if Ivy's not making 45, 50 million a year, let's say he's getting like Michael Porter Jr. money, which is like 35. Like they're not paying. The Pistons aren't, like, even if they can, they're not going to pay 3 guards that much money.
Right.
So that's where, to me, it gets tough. I'm just saying I wouldn't be so dismissive. I think, like, he's one of the elite of elite shooters, and he's not just a shooter, right? Like, he's fully healthy. It's not like he has an injury history. He got hurt.
Right.
And he had to rehab.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he tried to play through his rehab.
Right.
Maybe that wasn't a good idea. I don't know. But the point being is, again, when we go back, shot creation, right? For himself, for others, playmaker, right? He has point guard experience back in his Minnesota days, for better or for worse, right? Probably made him a better player overall.
Right.
All I'm saying is I think there's a lot of merit to it, but this is where the hard decisions come into play, right? Like maybe Ivy doesn't have to be involved in this trade, but down the line, I don't see how they pay all three of them. Like, I don't think you can justify paying 3 guards who may not even be able to play together realistically. It's kind of a weird fit,
I mean, unless Ivy was the 6th man, but then why? Then
so
you
you're
would
paying
have
$35 million for your 6th man or 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what Ivy's value is going to be, if anything. But like, it's not. This is where, right? Like I said, right. In order to get better, right, you have to make those stuff.
You got to sacrifice, and that sucks because I love this team.
This is this is a thought experiment. We're not saying we should do it. I'm just saying there should be. I think there should be consideration for Zach LaVine. In the sense that, one, again, like, you definitely can make the money work easily,
right?
And I don't know. As great as the Pistons have been, right? They're 8-1 in 2025,
right?
Right. And I think you saw that one graphic about their respective offensive and defensive efficiency or rating, right?
From December to now.
Right. They have a net rating. Since basically the new year.
Yeah.
Where they're 8-1. They have a net rating of plus 7.2, which is 7th best in the NBA. Right. Wow. With a defensive rating of 108.6. That's good for 2nd in the NBA. Okay. Now their offensive rating is 115.7. That literally puts them right smack dab in the middle of the NBA. They're 15th. Furthermore, I also looked at it in terms of variance, right? Okay. So basically you're like a mid offense, right? We're a mid offense. Is that how the kids say it, right? Pistons, we're mid. We're mid on offense. But get this, in terms of variance, we're a low variance team, meaning we're consistently mid on offense.
Right. I mean,
right? Which is okay. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're really good on defense, and our defensive variance is starting to stabilize, right? Like, we're a consistently good defensive team. Unfortunately, we're a consistently mediocre offense. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, think about the potential to inject more offensive. This is not just offensive efficiency. This is offensive firepower. That's what you're saying. We're one game, but if you just look at the loss column, we're one game behind in the loss column from being the 4th seed.
Yeah.
Orlando has 18 losses. We have 19.
Right.
So there's this, and again, I'm not saying like,
even though they were missing Paolo, but facts are facts, though. You know what I mean? Like, we're just on one game. Yeah.
And I mean, all the teams that fancy themselves better than us, right?
That's life.
Milwaukee.
We don't have Ivy.
Milwaukee, exactly, right? Milwaukee, Indiana. They believe they're significantly better, but I'm not so sure that they are. Right. I think, like, that's what I'm saying. I think we can close.
I want to beat Milwaukee so bad. Oh, my God. Why'd you bring up Milwaukee?
You want to beat Milwaukee or Indiana?
I want to beat both of them because I hate both of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, I hate Milwaukee because I went to the actual playoffs and Giannis was doing us dirty, and I love Giannis, but it's like, damn, bro. Like, can you just drop 20 and 12 instead of 36 and 18? Like, just go sit down somewhere, bro, with your lanky self.
Too funny.
I just want to beat Giannis. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not. Well, I mean, no, it really is. I think, again, LaVine can play. I think he does complement Cade well.
Okay.
And we've seen it. He can function off the ball. He's uber efficient, whether he's on or off the ball.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like there is a potentially really good opportunity there. But again, I don't know how much more other interest there is in LaVine. I'm sure there is. See, okay, there you go. I'm sure there is a lot of interest in LaVine right now. Like, oh, whoa, like Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? Career year. He's looking healthy. He's looking super explosive again. But this is why the reason why I advocate for the Pistons to be aggressive at the deadline is because all the other like established contenders,
right,
they're capped. They don't have the flexibility to make these moves.
That's true.
We're not only striking while the iron's hot, we're going to take advantage of the fact that they can't do anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude.
Right.
It's that simple. Right? Like, fortunately, right, we haven't, So, I don't know. I think, yeah. I mean, again, I'm not sure how serious Trajan is entertaining this idea, but I have a feeling he's less dismissive about it than fans are.
Okay. So before I jump into what I'm gonna jump into, what else do you have? Because I'm just gonna bring it all together.
Okay, we can go. Well, there's a lot. Right? Pistons. We have the most cap space. Like hella assets, right? We can get anybody basically.
Yeah. I mean,
but we'll keep it in reality here. There's one guy here I really like for the Pistons. Okay. If you're saying, like, you know what, maybe we can kind of get this under the radar guy who could continue growing with this team. I haven't seen too many people talk about him. Atlanta Hawks swingman forward, combo forward, DeAndre Hunter. I think while everybody is going for the bigger names, like he is the guy to go on that list of top 30 shooters, right? Mr. Hunter is smack right there. He's the 15th best shooter in the league this year, right? And I think it's a little deceptive, right? He doesn't have the gaudy. Well, I mean, he has an amazing scoring and rebounding. Well, a really great scoring, both totals and efficiencies, right? Shooting in the high 40s, shooting in the 40s from three, solid rebounder, right? In my opinion, he could play the 2, 3, and the 4, probably 3 and 4 really well. Very versatile defender, right? But going back to offense, I know I keep saying, right, playmaking, shot creation. I think he gives you the shot creation. The playmaking, you're like, well, dude, he only averages like 2 assists per game. But I think that's very deceptive. One, anyone who plays next to Trae Young never has high assist totals.
No.
Right? But two, if you actually watch the film, which I have, and I'm not saying that I'm an authority, it's just like when I see him,
you're the authority. Let's go.
No, but he is making, like you said, right? If hockey assists were a thing, right, in the NBA, if that was actually recorded, like in hockey, right, the assist that leads to the assist, he'd have like 5, 6 per game. DeAndre Hunter, you know what I'm saying? Like he has the wherewithal, the vision, again, like you said, right, to make those complimentary passes.
Right.
It has been reported that the Hawks are willing to deal him. I'm just saying, right? Like, I feel like there is some middle ground that the Pistons could meet. And I think, again, he's a young veteran who can continue to grow with this core. And I frankly think he'll be better maximized with us, So, I mean, that's kind of like my under the radar. He's the guy I've been caping for the most. I think he's highly underutilized.
Who would we have to give up for him?
I mean, if I'm looking at here,
like in just in your mind, like salary wise, based on what type of role he has, like all of those factors in, what do we have to give up to get him?
I mean, in terms of salary matching, right, which is what I like, right? He's under contract for 3 years, making about an average amount or an AAV about 21.6 million.
Yeah,
21.6 is. You got plenty of contracts to match that. I mean, no offense. Like, again, I know Tobias has been great. Tobias was never meant to be a long-term solution or he's a stopgap solution until you find that long-term piece. I think DeAndre Hunter can do what Tobias is doing, and he's just younger.
He can 15 and 8, 13 and 8.
Dude, easy. DeAndre is all right. He's playing next to Trae Young. He's coming off the bench. He's giving you like 20 a night.
I mean, but with Cade, he'll do it with Cade and with THJ and with Malik and with.
Or see, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't think it's just going to be. I'm sure, like Atlanta, because they don't even have their first round pick this year. They'll probably. I mean, I don't. The trajectory the Pistons are on, they're not going to retain their pick this year. I believe it goes to New York. I want to say.
Was it New York?
But
I forget who it was too. But it's been talked about a lot in the last day.
Yeah, no, like it's lottery protected, so you're not going to keep it.
It might be Minnesota.
Yeah,
I forget
something like that. Yeah, but it's unlikely at this point. I mean, we don't want to keep it, right? Like the only way we keep it is if we're not a playoff team, right? We're in the lottery, so yeah. So it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case
unless we go from the 14th lottery team to the first, and suddenly we get Cooper flagged. And
I can't speak on behalf of Atlanta, but it seems like a future protected first could get it done. And like I said, right, like you don't want to give away draft picks. You don't want to be so cavalier with them, but at the same time, like the collection of talent we've had, right? It's paid off. Like, all the picks we had in the past, like this is the talent.
Yeah.
Right now we need to see, we want to supplement that talent to get the best out of them, right? To get the best. Because, the reason why I like a guy like DeAndre Hunter is, we've had these discussions about like JB is reluctant to play Ron Holland and Ausar together, And obviously, I think most people would say it's because, right, especially if Duren's out there, you can't have so many non-shooters, right? And to their credit, Ron, Ausar, they're getting better. It's looking better, but realistically, right, they're not at the point. Like, if you play those lineups, a lot of the lineup success is dependent then on them having to knock down threes, and that puts a lot more pressure on them, right? And actually, in my opinion, it can hurt. It could stunt their development because right? You're now focusing on you're focusing less on what you're best at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like for both of them, maybe who knows? Who knows? Fred Vincent could be like fucking shooting god,
Right.
But
yeah,
I don't want. Yeah, I really just don't want their game to be predicated on whether or not they're making 3-pointers, right? The 3 should supplement or amplify what they already do well or what they're best at doing,
right?
So that's why now a guy like Hunter in the lineup, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, again, it may not be a starting lineup yet of Ron Holland and Ausar, but I think you can play that lineup together in more extended stretches if you had a guy like DeAndre Hunter, right? You have no real defensive weaknesses, and you have another guy who's like, right? Because whether you're running Beasley, whether you're running THJ again, right? Like you see it, right? Like it's cool when it works, when Beasley dribbles side to side and pulls out something out of his, his behind.
Yeah.
Or if THJ just kind of like runs back and forth around a screen and then jacks something up, right? But you want some more offensive flow, some more rhythm. And I think a guy like Hunter could add to that, and get the most out of it. And, right now, because they seem to be committed, the Hawks it is, Jalen Johnson obviously is one of their future franchise pieces, rightfully so. They're highly invested in Zachary Richache.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically the 2 spots that DeAndre Hunter plays. So right now he's coming off the bench for them and he's having a great year. But hey, right, you come here, he's probably eventually going to be a starter with us. And I think that's a good thing. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
Based on what our starting lineup is right now, yes.
Yeah.
It might happen in like 10 or 15 games being here. You know what I mean? Like, so okay. I like that one. I really like that one. Like this is why I wanted to hear from you specifically. You got more? You got
one
more?
One more that I really need to mention.
Okay, let's go. Water.
Sometimes, even you may be division rivals, you may hate each other, but sometimes, right, you help me, you scratch my back.
Ben Mathurin?
No.
Oh, I was about to say, like, yes. Okay, go for it. I'm listening.
Myles Turner.
What? Indiana been trying to trade him for like 5 years. They're not doing that. They regress.
I think they will.
Do that.
I think you could because I think we can put together the most compelling trade package. Because it goes back to what I said. It goes back to what I said, right? Right. If you're not comfortable, are you going to give an extension to a player to continue developing him, or you actually, he's established himself as a known commodity? And if you're not comfortable giving that extension, then maybe it's time to turn to the known commodity. If you're not comfortable giving Jalen Duren that extension,
I knew you was going there.
They want that vertical. They want a real vertical spacer for Halliburton.
Good Lord.
And now you don't have 3 non-shooters on the court at any given time.
At any time at all.
If I've got Myles Turner in the starting lineup, I can play Asar and Ron Holland with him a lot longer, and I still got rim protection, and I still got beast too.
I was just about to say, and you can probably play Isaiah Stewart too, especially if you unlock his shooting acumen, like him being able to shoot 1 or 2 threes a game.
They gave the mega max to Halliburton, rightfully so. They gave the max to Siakam, rightfully so, right?
And they still have what? Jalen
They have not been able to extend, right? They weren't able to come to an agreement on an extension with Myles Turner. Yeah. He's going to want that money somewhere. Yeah. And that somewhere is Detroit again, right? Take advantage of the teams that can't pay out their guys. And frankly, they're getting Duren.
Is Myles Turner a dog enough?
I think so. I'm biased because I think very highly of him, but I think so.
Okay. No, that's cool.
I think so.
That's cool.
I think it's very rare to find a stretch 5 of his caliber, right? Where you are like a legitimate, when we're saying like a legitimate, like stretch 5, like you are shooting, initiating from the perimeter. You're shooting, right? You are legitimately knocking down threes at a high clip, a high efficiency and a high clip.
Yeah.
But you're also always in position to legitimately defend the rim.
We'd be on guard.
Right? It's usually one or the other, right? It's like a fake stretch 5. Like, oh, he kind of shoots, but he's really a rim protector. Yeah. Like Brook, yeah, I'll give Brook Lopez that, but he's old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, Myles Turner, a young veteran. He likes Legos. That's cool. I like Legos.
Young.
Well, like he's probably not as young as DeAndre Hunter.
You hummed it out and gave him some extra.
Well, because I felt like I need to Google how old he is, but he's not old, right?
Like 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll do it.
This isn't the 1980s anymore. I feel like teams are a little bit more willing to trade within their own division. This isn't the NFL where that's like taboo. Shit, even the NFL does now. So, why not?
Myles Turner is 28. So
all the better. Young veteran.
All the better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think they would. I think they actually would be willing to at least entertain that idea. And it keeps showing up in reports that he can be had. He's not untouchable. Right. Yeah. The only untouchables in Indiana are Halliburton and Siakam. Probably. I don't know how they feel about Mathurin. I feel like Mathurin would be too, but I don't know.
If we could get Mathurin.
No. And that's what I'm saying, right? Like because you want to be able to maximize obviously Cade, but Ron and Asar. And I feel like Turner does that. Not only does he elevate, again, the same thing, right? Like the team's floor, but their ceiling as well, because he's helping elevate
what's going on the floor.
So
with spacing, just alone, honestly, like with spacing alone.
Those are my candidates. There are other like fringe candidates, but again, right, those are the guys you go down the list when maybe like the more
spitball like three of them, just real quick. Just throw out the names before we get out of here.
Okay. I really don't like this, but I could see a world where you do it for a short-term thing. Well, no. Okay, again, I'm not going to go into
just one more then.
No, we'll do 3 quick ones, but I feel like there are reasons why it wouldn't happen. Again, real quick, we talked about it before, Anfernee Simons. I still like the idea, but no, it's all the more like it goes back to the whole if you're getting Simons, then you're moving off of Ivy. And on top of that, I have a big enough sample size that tells me Simons is not going to be able to defend at the level that like LaVine would. Okay. Yeah, or can or would.
Right.
Or Hunter. Definitely a lot of great shot creation, a lot of playmaking, kind of combo guard skills. Do you believe in the Pistons culture to get the best out of him? There is the best version of Kyle Kuzma. The best version makes sense, but no, right? I feel like they're just
the rookie in second-year Laker Kyle Kuzma. Yes,
yeah, the guy straight out of Utah.
This Kyle Kuzma that is kind of, you know what I mean? Unless he can come here and assimilate himself into what we have going on, no, because I don't think him mentally, from what I've seen, and maybe it's because he's been in Washington, so it's like, why not give me the ball? It's like, so can you come here and be like, I'm with it? Because if not, then I don't want you at all. And I love Kuzma. Shout out to you. Shout out to Flint. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to quickly say the only reason why I bring up his name is because given his recent performances, and his perception around the league, like the asking price probably isn't too steep for us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the price itself, like, the draft compensation and the matching salary, like it's not a problem. The question is, do you even want to? You see, but like other teams are trying to find ways to get him but they're capped, right? So that's what I'm saying. For the Pistons, it's like, well, we can get him. Like we could satisfy their requests, their asking price, but it's. But
what does he add to us? You know what I mean? That's really what the question is. Is he 15-8 a game like Tobias is 13-8 a game? You know what I mean? Or 13-6?
Along the same lines of like kind of getting DeAndre Hunter. You're getting maybe like a younger, more athletic replacement, a long-term replacement for Tobias. But again, with all those other, it would be really weird too. I mean, it would be funny. It would be hell of ironic if you don't want to be that to you.
I'm gonna hold that against him forever, bro. Because look at y'all now. You know what I mean? But I mean, I wouldn't mind Kuzma here, but I don't want to move off anything to get him. You know what I mean? I would rather acquire him. He'd probably come off the bench, and if not start, I guess. But then what? Tobias is coming off the bench, so I don't know. Like that's a lot of cluster for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I would have to think deeply about that. Like if I had to speed think it, I would say no, because I feel like Tobias adds more of a veteran aspect. He's not still trying to prove himself. He's not necessarily fighting for contracts. You know what I mean? Like he's not. It's certain aspects to him that make him fit in better with this Pistons team as opposed to Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah,
but
and
I'm not
one last guy I think is a good culture fit. And I think this is more just for. I like the idea of the Pistons flexing on
Is
the
he a
other team.
dog? Is he a
He's
dog?
Turn to Brooklyn, Cam Johnson.
Yes, all day.
Is when the Thunder are trying again. All the cap teams trying to find ways to bring him in. The Thunder, Denver, the Lakers, and the Pistons like, ha ha ha. We got hella cap space, and we got first round picks. So what's up?
But we gotta come off Ivy. We would have to come off Ivy then. Like we would have.
No, I think really you're coming off of Tobias. We could. Cam Johnson, realistically, he's a 4 these days.
So do we regress losing Tobias like that though? With what?
I'm not trying to
on the floor.
I'm not trying to undervalue what Tobias has brought to this team this year because I'm just saying I think
going forward
these other guys, other than Kuzma, maybe Kuzma you regress, but the other guys, no, I think they bring different dynamics to kind of compensate for losing.
And Cade can just make up for it. Yeah.
Because again, for the most part, all of these options that we've listed as either like from least appealing to most appealing, there is the potential for that to have a positive effect as well, not just this season, but moving forward, and that's kind of what I want to focus on. See, so there you go.
Wow. Okay, let me not add nothing else to this.
No.
Other than the last thing that I was going to add, but you added the names. So out of all of the names right now, who would you much rather prefer the Pistons go after, try to acquire? Just one.
Because I think it doesn't rock the boat as much, and it's like the perfect medium of what you're willing to part with. So it doesn't rock the boat in terms of like chemistry,
right?
Culture,
which matters.
And it doesn't it's not going to be costing you an arm and a leg. Probably DeAndre Hunter.
I was thinking the same. Okay.
Yeah. I think he's perfect, but I wasn't as high on Zach LaVine until we had this conversation. I think I've convinced myself, I think seriously, I think there's just it's such a high ceiling, obviously offensively, and I don't know. I guess I am a Zach LaVine believer. I don't believe he's as bad as his reputation has become, right? I don't think like he's a black hole on either end, Yeah. So we'll see. But again, see all of these possibilities, as I said, right? It's because we have not only the means, but the flexibility, the ability to acquire these guys. So, but I'd say Hunter, because again, nice young veteran. So,
okay, and I'll throw one out there just for people to be talking crazy about it. And I ain't going to go in depth. They should know if they've been following him. He was hurt for a super long time in the past, but Jonathan Isaac, I wish. That's a wish list for me. That's a wish list. Yeah, look at you.
That was a good player. I kind of thought about that.
It's Jonathan. Yes, we'll acquire the defense. We'll acquire whatever level he's going to. He'll be alongside Cade. He'll have a true point guard. It won't just be the Wagners. It won't be Paolo. You know what I mean? He'll have room to had a chance to be more of himself. I mean, it might be a logjam with Asar and Ron Holland, and you know what I mean. We have so many wings, but what he brings defensively as well will help. You know what I mean? I believe, and that's just me off the top of the head, like just spitballing a name out there, like Jonathan Isaac. I've liked him for a long time, but yeah, I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to be focal in Orlando. You know what I mean? Because they have so many like players, like they have like I said, the Wagners and Paolo. So, but he can show up in his spots, but I think that he's a sleepy kind of acquisition for anybody, but for us, especially on the wing, that we need one more wing defender. And then this whole thing, because really what our problem for me is, yes, we have some offensive lapses when Cade goes down, which is why even in adding DeAndre Hunter, I would still try to figure out how to get Lonzo Ball. If it's just 2 picks, go ahead. But if we can add like a DeAndre or Jonathan Isaac and then still get Lonzo, yes, all day. Then we'll be by committee. It'll be Cade depth. You know what I mean? Like straight down. And
also, in all likelihood, if we were to trade THJ, like
nobody makes up for it right now.
Well, no. If we're trading him for one of those guys, what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is there is a world where you could bring him back next summer in free agency. I mean, I know it would suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would suck to not have him on this playoff run, but like, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying, right? Like, I don't think if you trade him, the relationship ends because, you know, thing about Malik Beasley is we're not trading him. No, he's on our list of no trades, but we only signed him to a 1-year deal. So we don't have full bird rights, right? So we're going to have to use our cap space, or if we're operating as a non-cap team, then we have to use like the mid-level exception to bring him back, which he's worth it. It's just, right? It's not like we could easily we don't have full bird rights. Like, hey, we could offer you whatever, you know, like we are kind of limited. That's what I'm saying. If we built some good connections, who knows, right? Like you're banking that we can bring him back because we've built such a great bond.
Yes. Yeah, you know? That's exactly what I was about to say. I was about to say, with what he's experienced from his experience in Detroit, I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he just is like, how much? Oh, I still got the same role. Oh, okay, let's go. You know what I mean? Or I still have a role that's maybe 5 or 10% less because you're acquiring whoever. Yeah, bring me back, because I've never seen Malik Beasley like this. You know what I mean? Like I thought he was going to be crazy in Milwaukee last year, and he wasn't. He was like almost non-existent. You know what I mean? And then he comes here and it's like lately he's dropping 20 a game almost. You know what I mean? It's just like, damn. Like I look up and it's like Malik Beasley 25, Malik Beasley 22, Malik Beasley. I'm like, huh? You know what I mean? And I don't think that he's doing that. Like I see him make 4 threes. Okay, that's 12. And then it's just like, okay, you made 6. Okay. You know, that's still not 20. And it's just like, 22 points. And it's just like, well, damn. Okay. Like
dude has tap danced on several courts this year. So,
and I'm loving every second of it. I don't want him to leave. He fits the Detroit culture. Like what we should have for the Pistons. Like, it's a few players that fit that, but okay. I like that. All right.
There you go.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all had a more comprehensive breakdown from Khan, because he's in depth, ladies and gentlemen. And I really wanted to hear what he had to say, because it's just not all of the Jimmy Butlers. And we touched on Brandon Ingram, but it's just not. We didn't even touch on CJ McCollum. People have been bringing him up, but we didn't bring him up.
I personally just skipped it.
Because it's just.
I'd rather just have Ivy.
Yeah, me too.
Because McCollum's okay. Real quick, McCollum is under contract for, I believe, 2 more years after this, I think.
And it's like 30.
Like, it's the same thing. I'd rather pay, if I'm paying 3 guards, I'd rather pay for LaVine. I'm not going to pay for like the short old guard.
Right.
You know,
right.
Like no. So
because we seen the best of what he brought to the Pelicans, and Zion went down in the midst of it, but still, it's just like. Now, like, nah, just go put him back with Dame. You know what I mean? Like, try to get him on the cheap, put him back. Seriously, put him back with Dame and Giannis. Like, man, that'll go crazy instead of AJ Green. But let's not switch teams. Thank y'all for listening, Pistons fans. We're gonna try to get back to the lives with y'all, but make sure y'all follow us. Y'all see the names at the bottom. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all follow EMW_pod on Twitter. Make sure y'all follow us, subscribe and like and follow us, share it, and we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all, Pistons fans. We are up. We was 3 and what again last year? 31.
Oh yeah. We see that? We started out, go back to our episode log. We recorded when this team was 0-4.
Yeah.
We didn't give up the faith. Did not
Yeah.
give up the faith.
Oh no. So, because it takes time to establish new things. You know what I mean? And if you don't have the willingness within yourself to actually have the wherewithal to be able to see things through, then you'll never see things through. Everything will fail because you quit quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's just me speaking to life. Like, you quit quick, you lose. You can't quit. So, yeah. And I stand on that.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, y'all check us out. We're going to try to come at y'all Thursday live. So, tune in. Yes. That's the intent, for real. So, who we play Thursday?
I don't know.
We play Toronto. I just damn seen it. Like, how did I forget the small information? Let me take a quick look at Bleacher Report real quick before we get up out of here. But yeah, like I'm impressed. Please beat Indiana's ass.
That's right, man.
Ben Mather. Oh, no Ivy Matherin matchup.
I know.
Sad. Let's get that done. But all right. Yeah. Y'all check us out, tune in, and take care. Indeed.